南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无本师释迦牟尼佛. We take refuge in our teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha. The Sutra opening kata, the Dharma infinitely profound and subtle, is rarely encountered even in a million kalpas. Now we are able to hear, to study, and to practice. May we fully understand and realize the Tathagata's true teachings. Okay. The Prajnaparamita Tritaya Sutra. Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, when practicing deeply the Prajnaparamita, perceives that all five khandhas are empty and is saved from all suffering and distress. O Sariputra, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. That which is form is emptiness. That which is emptiness, form. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. O Shariputra, all dhammas are marked with emptiness. They do not appear nor disappear, are not tainted nor pure, do not increase or decrease. There is emptiness, no form, no feelings, no perceptions, no impulses, no consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no color, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eyes, and no forth until no realm of mind consciousness, no ignorance and also no extinction of it, and so forth until no old age and death, and also no extinction of them, no suffering, no origination, no stopping, no path, no cognition, also no attainment. With nothing to attain, the Bodhisattva depends on Prajnaparamita, and the mind is no hindrance. Without any hindrance, no fears exist. Far apart from every perverted view, the Bodhisattva dwells in nirvana. In the three worlds, all Buddhas depend on Prajnaparamita and attain unsurpassed, complete, perfect enlightenment. Therefore, know the Prajnaparamita is the great transcendent mantra, is the great bright mantra, is the utmost mantra, is the supreme mantra, which is able to relieve all suffering and is true, not false. So proclaim the Prajnaparamita mantra. Proclaim the mantra that says, Gade Gade Paragade Parasam Gade Bodhe Swaha. So you have any questions concerning the last week? Everybody have a big smile. That must be nice. Nice memory. Anyway, okay. No questions? Okay, no discussion, huh? No question, no discussion. Okay. All right, then we start. We have done all these. The real truth. Now we are on the fifth one, transcending the self. But it is actually in the same paragraph as the last week, but the latter part of that paragraph. So we still, after this, the fifth one, we are doing the fifth one. So we still have 4 more to go after this one. So we are doing this today. Therefore, in emptiness, no form. Those the second half of the third paragraph. Therefore, in emptiness, no form, no feelings, no perceptions, no impulses, no consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no color, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eyes, and so forth until no realm of mind consciousness. Somebody coming? Oh, grab a chair, Paul.
I forgot my sock.
That's okay. We don't have big enough socks for you. Okay, so it's okay. Transcending this paragraph is actually about transcending the self. Therefore, in emptiness, no form. Strange, eh? Funny. Okay. No form, no feelings, no perceptions, no impulses, no consciousness. I was going to ask you the answer, but the answers are all here, and the questions are not there. Emptiness. Yeah, emptiness, right? So, okay. So in here, it's actually the whole paragraph, whole paragraph in red. So no form, no feelings, no perceptions, no impulses, and no consciousness. They all considered as the five khandhas, right? Remember, khandhas or the aggregates, right? And then the next one, you see, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, and no mind. These are called the six what? You see? You see? My student always want to find me a big answer. And the answer is on there on TV. Well, and I think you were wondering why, Sifu, you don't use the internal senses before. You never used the internal senses before. What did I use? Sense doors. Yeah, sense doors or senses, right? Yeah. So why would we call it the six internal senses? Internal in relationship to our body. Yeah. So this is actually another name for the sense doors. But some scholar don't like this to be called internal and external. That means there is really something truly there. That some scholars think that this might mislead people from really thinking that there is a true something there that separate the internal and the external. But I think it's okay as long as you do understand. I think it's okay to actually have that um, differentiation between something relative to our own existence is here, and anything that is outside our existence is called external. Okay, so the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, the body, and the mind is considered to be the sensors where all the messages start to go in through outside, right? And so what do you think of the external senses then? So I gave you the answer. Please give me the questions. So what is in front of this external senses? Very good, Sydney. That's very good. Yeah, it's right there in the paragraph. It's yeah, no color, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, and no object of mind. And okay, we look at this first. Okay, six external senses, and the sixth consciousness is the realm of the consciousness of the eyes, the consciousness of the ears, consciousness of the nose, and consciousness of the tongue, and consciousness of the body, and consciousness of the mind. That means the mind. So those are the six consciousness. Okay. So in here, why would he teach this? Why would Avalokitesvara say that when you have wisdom, when you see sunnata, when you actually experience sunnata and you understand sunnata and you know what is sunnata, then you can transcend yourself. Why would you think that they actually he or she, if you consider Avalokitesvara to be a he, then he, if you consider it to be a she, then it's a she. It doesn't really matter. He or she, Avalokitesvara said, well, once you actually can see in emptiness, there is no form, and in emptiness, there's no realm of eyes, then you will be able to transform this self. Yeah. Yeah, of course. When you see some emptiness, of course you won't attach. But why would all these, all these things?
Maybe you transcend your sense of like your ego and thinking you exist
Okay.
separate whole body.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, it's knowing the supramundane.
Yeah.
If that's what this is, so it's a different reality, like a different reality.
So what is the reality of this, all these together? What is this?
They're all reactions and which are judged.
Okay. All right.
I mean, this is like a way of describing the self.
It's great. This is you here. This is me here, right? These all, we'll look at it. These are all us. All us. Us. Okay? So if you cut down all these, it becomes five, the five khandhas, the six sensors, the six you so-called sense objects, right? But some other scholars don't call them sense objects. Or other scholars call these the six domains, where these six sense doors actually function or come into contact with. And then when this six consciousness actually is the result of a sense door coming into contact with a domain, and then together with the consciousness, they all three come together. And so you would be able to see this is called a stick. I finished tonight. Let's go home. That's all. Really? I mean, the following slides are all, I have summarized it up already. You don't believe in me? Oh, so that means I have to go on? Okay, all right. All right, let's look at this. So this is complicated enough, right? I'm sorry, the words are very little, very small. Okay, let us look at this. These are the five skandhas, yeah? These are easy to know. Okay, the six internal senses, yeah, sense bases, or six sense doors, right? So very easy to understand. And six what? Domains, okay? So six external senses. Shape, sound, smell or odor, taste, touch, and thought, right? Okay, and then the six arising consciousness, the visual consciousness, the auditory, the gustatory, the tongue, the tactile, and the conceptual. Okay. Now, when we look at the sonata, we know the definition of sonata, right? Yes. Okay. What is the? How would you define sonata? Impermanent. Okay. Conditioned. Good. Good. Indivisible. You hit it all. Bingo. Huh? Oh dear. Yeah. Okay, that's great. It's all conditions, impermanent, transitory, indivisible, right? Uncontrollable. Yeah. Transitory. That's impermanent also, right? So we know these actually all arises because of conditions, and they do not have a true existing self, right? And the real nature of existence of all these is sunnata. A student, the you want a big answer from your teacher. Sunyata is a big answer. Oh, next time we should put a camera there and take the students, so the camera can catch what the students look at. It was so funny. we need to have the AC on, but we as sentient beings, as human beings, especially when we are not actually taught by this, and when we start to learn the Dharma later age, the ideas of this permanent self, this real self, is so stuck in our mind. We become so ignorant about the nature of our existence. Okay, so ignorant. We think that, oh yeah, I'm forever existing. Oh well, you know what? This is so real, and you try to do everything to make this body healthier and prettier and more beautiful and stronger and more whatever, Why? Because we are so ignorant of this existence, of this form, and all the other khandhas. Therefore, because of this ignorance, therefore suffering arises. And suffering is always there, constantly and consistently. Okay? But Bodhisattva and the enlightened ones, they see it. It's different. They see it from a very, very wise point of view, and seeing the sunyata as the nature of existence of all these. So if form and other khandhas are empty, then we will be completely rescued from suffering. We are suffering because we attach to the forms. We are attached to the sensations. We attach to the perceptions. We attach to the impulses. I got an answer from I got a question from a student from Hong Kong. He's constantly going through stages of stress at work, at home, and all that. So I asked him, why don't you just meditate a little bit more? Meditate a little bit. And he said, okay, but when I meditate, all these worries start to come up. How can I get rid of those worries? How can I sweep the worries away? I said, no, you don't have to sweep the worries away. The worries away, you just have to be aware of it. Then how can I get rid of it? You see? Because we are so ignorant about those worries, about whatever, worries or lust or whatever. We are ignorant of the nature of its existence. So when they arise, we are so scared, or we are so attached, and we crave so much. Then we start, how am I going to do it? So I just didn't have time to actually reply him yet. It came just before I came out here. So so I needed to explain to him, allow it to arise. Of course, when it arises, if our mind is not strong, if our mind doesn't have that kind of awareness, that kind of equanimity, we'll get caught. We get caught in it. Just like what I said during the meditation, our mind is like a constant wave. It's like this, but deep down these waves, what is deep down? There is calmness. On the surface, it's always like this. So don't serve with it. Don't serve with it. See if you can go deep down and realize there is actually deep down, there is calmness there. Calmness is in here because we are wise inside. Okay? We are serving like this because of all these reactions. Okay? So when it says that there is no form, it actually is not really no form. What does it mean by it? Form. Yeah. So when you start to look at these, especially from here, when you start going into consciousness Oh, when we start to talk about consciousness, I'll start to talk more. So when it says no form, that means it's empty. It is empty of its own really real physical existence. It existed because of all the conditions that come together and allow it to become what it is. Right? So without one condition, it cannot be the way it is, like this. So this is, remember this stick all the time. So the same with sensations, the same with perceptions, the same with impulses. And so the nama and rupa are completely sunnata. Okay, so then we come to the 6 sense doors. These are the 6 sense doors. Now, the 6 sense doors, sometimes if you read sutra or sutta, they will call the 6 sense doors as the 6 robbers or the 6 thieves. Why do you think that it's being labeled as such?
Because when you, our mind comes into being and you see something, all the conditions come together and it robs you or it steals from you that equanimity when the cravings come in.
Mm-hmm.
That's the long version.
Okay, that's the long version. All right. Okay, anybody? Any suggestion? Why would it's called robbers and the thieves?
They distract.
They distract. Yeah.
That was the short version.
Yeah, they summarize, isn't it? It's great. They distract, they disturb, right? And because the outside messages, when they come in, they don't come in just like that. No, because we allow it to come in. Because the eye, when you see a steak, you just look at it and you don't judge whether it's a nice steak, whether it's a small steak. You just know that there is a form in there. So even when the eye consciousness arises, if the consciousness doesn't judge, then you are okay. But a lot of time we judge on these messages. Okay, so the sense doors actually are distractions a lot of times. Okay, because the eyes, when we start to see, it only sees a form. It's only see a form occur or a form or shape. But when the consciousness, the eye consciousness arises, the visual consciousness arises, then it will start to discriminate. It will start to label. It will start to judge. It will start to like or dislike. Okay? That's the whole thing. And all the karma arises because of this. Yeah, various kinds of karmas arises. And then these karmas start to nourish ourselves, our lives, and then we will keep multiplying if we are not very careful. And these obstructions will like an endless path keep on distracting us. Okay, so these six doors, actually we could also call the 6 roots also. Okay, so Hui Jing, one of a very renowned monk in the old days, he said, the tissue of the eye is the earth element. Okay, he said the tissue of the eye is the earth element, and the tears of the eyes are the elements of water. Okay, and the warmth is the element of fire, and we can move our eyeballs around, and this is the element of the wind and the air. Okay, so those are the elements of the eyes, right? These four elements make up something we call the eye in such a shape. And each of these 4 elements has its own characteristics, right? Right? You have to nod much more. Okay. So when these are all combined, they form something we call an I. And we call these at that time, then there will be a joint characteristic of an I, right? You still with me? Okay. Now, in the absence of these four elements, then there is no self-existent I anymore, right? Any of the four or the complete four. There is no more I we call a self-existent I anymore, right? Right, okay. But when the four elements are present, does the I has any other nature besides the joint characteristic? No. Good. Don't doubt about your answers. They are wonderful answers. They are correct. Okay. They are neither big nor small. They are good. Okay. So at that time, that I is said to be empty because it has only a joint characteristics of all these four elements come together. Right? So the I actually itself doesn't have a individual nature of its own. When the four elements are not joined together and the four elements are present together, so the I mean, when the four elements are together, then there is a joint characteristic. So the I is also called to be empty because it's conditioned depending on those four elements. When those four elements are not there, the I is also empty. Raining. Oh, doors are empty. Doors are open. Windows are open. Rain is empty. It will dry. Don't worry. So the nature of the I is open. If the nature of the I is not open, empty, so does it mean that there is no I? No. It's just that there is no self-existent I. So does the element of the heat of the muscle, the earth, is the I? Or neither is the water, right? If the earth element, does it have self? Why not? You really understand it? Of course, it's the earth. Actually, you break it down. You break the earth down. It's made up of what? The muscles is made up of fibers. Fibers are made up of what? Microfibers, nanofibers. What is the smallest fiber now? Quantum physics, yeah. So if the earth element has a self, then if the earth element has a self, the water element has a self, if the wind element has a self, if the fire element has a self, then when they all come together, the I should have four selves. Understand now? So how can an I have four selves? If the I has four selves, then our I will be very funny. We don't know whether we're looking at the I through the muscles or through the wind or through the heat or through the water. Spiders. So you see, that's why all things, the nature of all things, the nature of existence of all things is sunnata. It's so easy to comprehend now, isn't it? Just because of this. So that's why we have, so you understand with this internal and then with this external, And then, okay, now we go to this external, the shape, the sound, the smell, the taste, the touch, the thought. These are the domains that where these internal senses actually work at. Okay, that these are the powers. So these are called the external senses, and each of these is actually separated from the rest. Can the eye hear? Can the ears see? No, they can't. So a particular joint characteristics of each particular sense organ actually are very different. But mind you, the ears are made up of the earth, the wind, the fire, and the water. But their characteristics is different from the characteristics. The joint characteristics of an ear will be different from the joint characteristics of an eye. If they are the same, then my ear will be able to see and my eyes will be able to hear, right? But they are not. This is so interesting. Okay, so they are all separate. They are all different. Okay, so but there is only one part within our existence that can experience all. Very good. Very good. It's only the mind that can experience the hearing and the eyes and the nose and the tongue and the body and the mind, right? Without this, we won't be able to what? To feel, to see, to hear, to taste. You still with me? Good. Very good. Okay. So now, see if I'm doing it right. Okay. I am afraid. Oh, good. Right. So the 6 internal bases, the 6 sense doors, plus the 6 domains, they all add together to become the 12 abodes. That means the 12 sense bases, the 12 abodes. And even the 12 abodes are devoid of a self, right? Because each of the sense bases is sunnata, and whether there is 12 or whether there is 120, each one of them is sunnata, then the sum of it is also to be sunnata, right? Therefore, actually, Avalokitesvara, she is so kind. She said, no aggregates. None of the aggregates is it. Every aggregate is empty. Okay, from here, if you are still not enlightened, then she said, okay, come here. The 12 abodes are also empty. And you're not enlightened yet. Okay, don't worry. She's got some more to add. If you don't understand, she's got some more for you to understand yourself better, so that you eventually will understand and try to detach away from this. Okay. All right, then we start with 6 consciousness. The 6 consciousness is the 6 powers and the 6 domains of sensation coming into contact. And then there arises the 6 consciousness, right? Without, if you have just got the sense door, if you don't have a domain, for example, if you don't have something like this, do you think that the consciousness will arise? No. If you don't have sense door, if you do just have this, do you think the consciousness will arise? It can't. You all right?
Yeah, I'm not thinking about what about training?
Oh, don't think too much yet. dream is the manifestation of mind. Okay. So the six powers and its domain come into contact, then arise the sixth consciousness. Do you think that when you sleep, you think that consciousness is asleep too? No, no. Okay, the mind is always active. Okay. So we give them all these names: the visual, the gustatory, and tongue, and or taste, and tactile. So let us look a closer look at these six consciousnesses. Certain beings may lack one of these elements, right? One of these elements. Certain beings may lack it. Some people may be impaired here. Some people may be blind. So they don't have a eye sensor. Okay, so if they are lacking that one, then what happens? The other sense doors take over, and that sense door become latent, dormant, like sleeping. Yeah, but only when we are in this human life. But when people are in near-death experience, even blind people can see colors, and deaf people can hear sounds in near-death experience. Why? Why do you think so?
Part of it, I believe, is that effort to stay alive. Like a lot of times, if they take people off the life support system, the body will actually have like one more surge.
No, but what about why in near-death experience, the body is still there, but even the body is like a new search of trying to survive itself. But the person is blind. He cannot open up his eyes and start to see. Why do you think in near-death experience, blind people will see colors? And exactly. We are not misled by this body anymore. This existence actually transcends the physical existence in near-death experience. Sounds logical, doesn't it? You read some near-death experience books. I have a lot. I have at least 6. Talking about near-death. Yeah, and it's true because we are so misled by this existence, and we are actually limited by it. That's why in meditation, if we go into that kind of calmness and focus, that feeling is way beyond human existence, yet to be experienced. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So when we meditate on this, we need to actually, when you meditate, you need to actually constantly remind yourself these things, and don't get caught up. Don't get caught up in meditation when things start to arise, when emotions or when pain start to arise. Okay, so these are the 12 abodes. Now, can you see this light blue color? These are called the 18 elements. That means these 3 columns, these 3 all add together, the 12 sense, the 6 sense doors, plus the 6 domains, plus the 6 consciousness is called the 18 elements in our existence. See that? Okay. So then how can we transcend ourselves? Okay, let's look. The 6 sense doors. No, this is a summary. It's so easier for you to understand. The 6 sense objects, or the 6 domains. Okay, and these are called the 12 abodes. Easier to understand now, all right? Plus the six consciousness, the auditory, the visual, the gustatory, and the tongue and all that. Together, these all together is called the 18 elements. Okay? So the six sense doors or the six senses, these are the physical existence, right? Okay. And these six domains are the external. Okay, good. And when these two come into contact, then this six consciousness will arise. Any of these consciousness arise, become the mental part. Yeah? And these all three together will what? Will create our behavior. Right? And also bring on reactions or actions. Okay. So if these six consciousness start from inside, for example, the I consciousness, and I start to actually, oh, I love this, I really like this, and I want to possess it. I want to possess it. Then you will start to create so much suffering if you cannot take this into your life. Okay. So that's why we call these the six kind of dusts. D-U-S-T, dust. And these six kind of dust, if we do not understand, we will constantly would run after those dust and be caught up in all those craving and running. So that's why in the monastic, in when we renounce, the teacher would tell us, you are actually leaving the family, leaving the home of dust. Yeah, you're cutting yourself, you're severing yourself from the home of dust. It's not from this mundane family home, it's actually this supramundane home, going into a supramundane home, leaving the home of dust. That's why the Buddha in the Nikaya Sutta, remember a long time ago, I said, I talk about what householder life is dusty. Yes. Because householder have so much obligations to the family, to the children, to the father, to the whatever, and so many extra responsibilities and entertainments and all that. That's why householder life is very dusty, full of dust. Okay. So I don't know how much you understand or how much you remember about the precepts. So besides the 5 precepts, remember that there are people go into monastery, especially in Thailand also, full moon day and half moon day, they go and take the 8 precepts. And in the 8 precepts, they would that there is one precept is that, okay, I don't go and chant and dance. I mean, not chant, sing and dance. That means we are leaving the dust of the form. Dancing, right? Dancing, singing. Okay, and then we don't carry perfume. We don't wear garland. We don't wear earrings. What kind of dust do you think that is? Yeah. When it perfume, the odor, the smell. Yeah. What about Then there is the precept of not to sleep on or sit on high beds. What do you think of that? What kind of dust? Touch, yeah, contact. Okay, then like these three little sifus, sifu, they don't eat after lunch. So what kind of dust? Tastes good. Okay, then and also then they don't touch money, or they don't, I mean, really not possessing self money. What do you think? Huh? No, visual is the first one. Hmm? Mental objects, yeah. Get rid of desire, yeah. Okay, so these are all different kind of dust that we actually try to sever ourselves from. Okay, so remember, the six sense doors is in relationship is actually inside, and the six domains are outside. The six consciousness is in between, right? It's in between. So if the six sensors are sunnata, empty, then what happens? When it connects with the sixth domain, nothing. So that's why the Buddha said in Nikaya, he said, sound is just a sound. Color is just a color. An object is just an object. Because we don't understand and we cannot see this as sunnata. That's why we call this a stake. But when we start to look at it, we should all try. Oh, this is sunnata. And you try to really mentally dissect this thing. And right there, you will be free from this stick. So in any situation you find yourself being entangled in, if you start to think about sunnata right away and look at it and say, wow, I'm entangled in this. What kind of situation? Why is this? There must be some connection. And what kind of connection? You try to go deep into it. And then right at that moment, you will stop reacting. But if you don't, you either swallow it. Okay, I swallow it. I bear with it. You can only bear with it that much. You like a pressure cooker. Press it, push it down. Or you what? Explode, like the volcanoes in Hawaii. Right? Either way, it's wrong. It's not wrong, but it's not going to liberate you. But if you start to look at it from another point of view, from a dependent origination point of view, that means you eventually you will start to understand it from sunnata, from the point of view of sunnata. I got another I got so many messages each day. I got a message this early morning. A student from Hong Kong told me that they're going out, they went out with their parents because next week is Mother's Day, right? So they took the mother out for dinner. And after the dinner, the husband went back home to tell the wife, I have no way. I thought the marriage was gone. I said, what happens? And the girl told me, we took mom out for dinner, mom on the men's side, and it was the usual mom complaining, blaming everything. It's all the faults of the son, everything. And the son was so depressed. He said, I try to make up. I try to have piety. I try to appreciate her existence. No matter how hard I try, she didn't seem to appreciate. I said, well, you have tried. Then forget it. Let it be, because it's her. It's not your problem. It's her problem. I said, at the end, I said, you would not know what you have done to her in the past life. So why would you expect her to behave the way you want her to behave to you? Why can't you just see it from that point of view and let it go? Of course, it's very difficult to see sunnata in this kind of situation because it's family. We have an expectation for family. We have an expectation for a mother, have an expectation for a son to how to behave or how not to behave. But eventually, you really need to look at it from that point of view. Not from sunnata, at least it's from dependent origination, connection. Connection. If you start to see it from the connection point of view, you say, wow, yes, I may have done something really nasty to her in many lives. Otherwise, how can a mother to be acting like that to the only son? He's the only child in the family, right? So I said, then you will feel a lot better. Then you wouldn't expect your mom to behave the way you want her to behave, right? It's kind of sad sometimes, but this is the way our relationships is. And are you going to work around it, or are you going to kill yourself? You can't, right? And don't get too upset. I said, well, they are still up and about, and let them enjoy their life. When they need your help, when they get older, they need your help, they need your assistance. You go and be with them. You go and help them. You go and assist them. That at that time you can pay off your piety. Now they probably don't need it. So, you know. So, okay. So this, wow, how can we transcend ourselves through this? If we start to actually see things as they are and hear things as they are, as it is, then we would not create so many self in us. And thinking that I am, such a big self. In the old days, a Brahma came to visit the Buddha, and he's got flowers to offer to the Buddha. And the Buddha said, let go. So the Brahma thought, wow, the Buddha must be asking me to let go of the flowers. So he put down the flowers from his right hand, put it down. And the Buddha said, let go. He thought, okay, let go of the right bunches, the bunch on the right hand. Okay, I'll let go of the bunch on the left hand. Put it down on the left hand. And the Buddha said, let go. And the Brahma was puzzled. He said, let go? I have let go of all the flowers already. Buddha, you still want me to let go of what? What do you think the Buddha wanted him to let go of? Yeah, attachments to the flowers, attachment to the offering, attachment to bringing the flowers to offer. Okay, so that means we have to try to learn it this way. Okay, so Avalokitesvara, very, very kind. She actually told us this actually in this latter part of this paragraph. Actually, he gave us, or she gave us, way. If we are so deluded about the mind but not the form, then she said you contemplate on the aggregates, seeing sunnata in the aggregates, the perception, because we are not attached to the form, but yet we are so deluded about the mind. So you start working at the mind. Oh, this, okay, I look at this. Oh, this is pleasurable. That comes from the mind, right? Pleasurable. Hey, then you start to see, hey, this is not pleasurable. I feel it is pleasurable because I like it. then you start to work at the mind level. Okay, so work at the 5 aggregates. And then she said, if you are deluded about the form, but not the mind, then you work at these 6 sense doors, at these 6 domains, these 12 altogether. Okay, because you are not deluded in the mind, but only the mind can feel, only the mind can see, only the mind can hear, only the mind can smell. So if you are not deluded in the mind, then you have to work at these 10, the 6 sense doors, and these 6 domains, the 12 domains. Okay. And she said, if you are both deluded in the mind and the form, then you have to work at the 18 elements. You see? So she's very kind to give us way how we can actually transcend ourselves. So we should know that all these 6 sense doors are not realistic. They will only start to function when there is contact happening between the domain and the door. Okay? So, and also with the domain and the consciousness, if they won't be able to function without a sense door, right? All 3 of them have to be there. Now you are seeing, you are looking with your eye, and there is a domain called a TV. And in between a TV and your eye, there arises a consciousness, a visual consciousness. Without any one of this, you will not be able to see or hear, to smell, to touch, to feel the touch.
So then what happens at near death? And you don't have the sense doors or the sense objects, but you have
Near death. So consciousness flows around. Consciousness flows around. But when somebody tells you it's not your time up yet, you go back. So your consciousness take that message and go back to the body. Become attached to the body again. So it comes back to life again. Whether it's near death or whether it's really dying, you can actually, the consciousness flows around.
And so when someone dies and they still have their consciousness,
Of course, it's, yeah.
we want to transcend that.
Yeah. That's what in the consciousness, the storage in that mind actually is the one that takes rebirth. The storage, the X consciousness. But these are just 6 consciousness.
Consciousness is not dependent on sense doors and sense objects.
Say that again.
Consciousnesses are not dependent on the sense doors and the sense objects. It's independent of the
It's independent, but yet it's dependent. It won't arise if there is no contact. If there is no contact of the eye, if I'm blind, there is no contact of the eye to this. How will I know what is the stick is like? It seems that there is still consciousness, but the consciousness is not functioning. Of course, there's no input. There's no message going in.
So it's just the storehouse that has been.
The storehouse of consciousness is not has been created, it's always there. Until we completely empty it out. Then we become enlightened.
It was like memory. And the near-death
Store-
experience.
storage, computer chip, the teeth, infinite teeth in your computer chip. Yeah?
You call it your root?
Yeah, the root cause, the root consciousness. There are 6 more slides. 7. Don't think we can finish. I thought I can. Okay, we can talk next week. Do you want to finish or you want to continue? Continue? You all right?
I just need to get a power cord.
No power. Okay. All right. Okay, continue. It's actually quite simple. Hu Jing is another monk. He said, if our self is in the eyes, then it cannot be in the ears. Right? And he said, and if there is a self present in each element, then a person will have a combination of 18 selves. Just like what I said about the eyes, right? Because this is easy. And if none of the element has a self, then there would not be a self in the combination. There won't be an I. Okay? So he said, and because there is none, we know that the self is not a real entity. That's simple and easy to understand. So by understanding the sunnata and the anatta, that means selfless, right? No self, will help us to let go of our clinging, right? Let go of our clinging and judgment in this mundane world. Then we can actually start to examine every situation, every relationship with a more objective view and more objective attitude. And that actually helps us to deal with situation, and we will not be affected so much by our own standpoint, our own biases, right? And also, with understanding of sunnata and anatta, we don't place our lives in fate. We don't just sit numb there. Oh, I'll let fate work my life out. No, you don't. You have to take an active role. Sometimes you have to take a passive role, right? It depends, right? So, but you will have faith to really change ourselves and create a brighter future. Okay? When you understand sunnata and anatta more and you start to actually implement that and integrate that into your life, you'll be more capable to understand relationships and be able to become more accepting, more considerate and more understanding. I totally agree with it because in the past few years I've gone through like hurdles like this, but I start to see it from like connections, from dependent origination. I start to see, wow, relationship, sometimes it could be so sweet and sound. Wow, when it flips, it could be so bitter and so deep and so hurtful. And I allow my hurt to hurt myself. Really, you allow the hurt to hurt yourself. I thought, no, I don't need to do this. I don't need to do this. I need to actually start to see it from that dependent origination point of view. Wow, I tell you, such a big relief. And opens up so many revenues and avenues. It really opens up your eyes and open up your mind. Start to see from that, okay? So in Sunda Dynasty, there is a monk. He actually wrote, okay, this is my translation, okay, from a Chinese translation. He said, walking the path is like the gatekeeper watching over the fortress, like a big fortress, okay? And he said, guarding the 6 robbers during days and nights. Remember the 6 robbers. And the commander, the general, can give orders. Peace can be achieved without wars. Okay? So, that comes from Song Dynasty, a monk called Melpu, and that is like 960 AD. So, oops, sorry. So walking the path is like the gatekeeper. That means we actually, if we start to practice, we become a gatekeeper. We become a watcher, a gate watcher ourselves, so that we actually guard the 6 sense doors, constantly guarding them, and don't allow, don't allow. Are you doing that accidentally? Don't allow the robbers to come in. Okay, so and then when the robbers don't come in, you won't have a war. You don't have to fight. And when there is a war, how can you actually calm the war down? It's from the mind. Remember, Dhammapada said, the mind is the chief. Everything is mind route, right? Okay? So I came across this so nice today. He said, you see, all things have a pure sense, a form which is their true being that defines them. Ooh, your abstract philosophy is so stupid. This is Plato. And the other one, you know who that is? What? Who is the opponent to Plato? Huh? No. Okay. That is him here. Diogenes, please stay. I am trying to give a lecture. What about this cup, Plato? Is there an eternal perfect cup somewhere? And Plato said, yes, in a sense, there is a form of cupness here. Okay. And Diogenes said, and what about the emptiness inside the cup? Plato said, whoa. And Diogenes said, I think you will find, Plato, that the emptiness is in here. I think this is so good. The emptiness is in here. This is all empty. When this is all empty, we will become enlightened. Okay. So we're not too far overrun. Work day 20th, 27th bathing of the Buddha right here, and 24th pool for sight. You can donate to Po Lam, or you can donate as an individual, and you can support the group to pull the plane. Okay. If anybody is interested in taking refuge, it will happen on the day on the 27th. Okay. All right. Any questions? So how can you transcend yourself? By studying no self. Yeah. And put that into practice. Guarding the fortress. Yes. Yeah. Remember, how many robbers do you have? Good. Yes. Guard the 6 robbers. Okay. All right. So that's how you transcend yourself, really. Okay. So we finished the 3rd paragraph, including the title. That's the 4th. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 more to go. 5 more to go. Good. Okay. So you mumbling. So we bring our attention back to this body, its physical existence, and experiencing this flux of changes within this physical and this mental existence. And knowing just the way it is, we calmly calmly just be aware. And we allow this good thought to arise in our mind. For all the benefits that are gathered tonight, may I share all these benefits with all beings. All beings, human, unhuman, visible, invisible, big or small, far or near. May they be free of enmity and miseries. May they start to live in a world with brightness, warmth, and experience compassionate love, and be truly free and happy and peaceful. May more and more people will encounter the words of the Buddha, study them, put them into practice, release themselves from all the entanglements, and one day attain ultimate freedom, peace, and happiness. Good. Good night.